Bruce Wayne has a lot of Robins. Like a lot. Like more than any reasonable billionaire should, especially given how billionaires and kids are going these days. And every single time one of them leaves, dies, gets fired, comes back from the dead, or turns into an unhinged anti-hero with guns, Batman just posts another job listing. So today, we're going through all of them. Every single person who has ever worn the Robin suit, the iconic ones, the forgotten ones, the tragic ones, and the one that is, and I cannot stress this enough, a baby alien starfish in a jar who calls Batman Dad. This is the history of every Robin. Buckle up. Robin Zero, Bruce Wayne. Yes, really. Before we get to Dick Grayson, the Robin that everyone knows, we need to first talk about the single most confusing entry in Robin history. That is that Bruce Wayne himself was technically Robin first. In Detective Comics number 226, published in 1952, a flashback reveals that a young Bruce Wayne, pre-Batman, pre-everything, trained under a legendary private detective named Harvey Harris. To hide his identity while learning the ropes, he dressed up in costume, a green and red costume with a cape. Basically Robin's exact outfit. Harvey Harris took one look at this Robin and said, and I quote, "Since you're brilliant as a Robin Redbreast in that costume, I'll call you Robin." So Batman named his sidekick after the costume he himself wore as a child. DC later retconned most of this out of main continuity, presumably because someone sat down and thought it through for like 30 seconds. But it's here, and it happened. So Bruce Wayne was Robin before Robin was Robin. Robin number 1, Dick Grayson. Detective Comics issue 38, April of 1940. Writer Bill Finger, artist Bob Kane, and inker Jerry Robinson. Batman had been around for years, and the problem was he was too dark, he was too grim, he used guns, he let people die, and editors wanted to lighten him up, make him more accessible to the younger readers. The solution was to give him a kid, a bright, optimistic, acrobatic kid who could bounce off walls and crack wise while Batman brooded in the corner. And it worked! Robin's debut doubled Batman sales overnight. Dick Grayson's origin is almost identical to Bruce's, which is intentional. The Flying Graysons, his parents, John and Mary, were circus performers murdered mid-performance when a gangster named Boss Zuko sabotaged their trapeze equipment. Bruce Wayne was in the audience. He recognized his own tragedy in that kid's eyes and took him in. Then he put him in the suit and sent him after criminals, which is totally normal. Here's what Dick proved, and what makes everything that follows possible. The idea worked. A Robin who is optimistic when Batman is dark, who trusts people where Batman suspects them, who is actually healed by what should have broken him. That version of Robin is the template. He founded the Teen Titans. He became Nightwing, one of DC's best solo heroes. He wore the Batman cowl for a stretch when Bruce was gone. He's the only Robin who graduated into something better without dying first, and the only one who never needed to come back to it. Robin 2, Jason Todd, where the idea breaks. Jason Todd debuted in 1983, originally written as basically another Dick Grayson. And they copied everything except the hair. And readers weren't buying it. When Crisis on Infinite Earths hit in 1985 and DC reset large chunks of its continuity, they reinvented him. Now, he's a streetwise kid, a thief. The kid Batman caught trying to steal the tires off of the Batmobile in a dark alley. And instead of calling the police, Bruce Wayne said, "I'm gonna take this kid. This one's mine now." The new Jason Todd was aggressive, impulsive, burning with a rage Bruce couldn't train out of him. Where Dick had balanced Batman's darkness with his own light, Jason leaned into the darkness. He believed in justice, just not Batman's rules for getting there. And what Dick had proven, that Robin could be a symbol of something better, Jason started quietly disproving. Which brings us to the phone vote. In 1988, DC did something unprecedented. In Death of the Family, Jason tracked down his biological mother in Ethiopia, only to find out that she was working for the Joker. The Joker beat Jason with a crowbar. Badly. Then blew up the building, and DC let readers call one of two phone numbers to decide if he lived or if he died. They voted to kill him. By 72 votes. Out of over 10,000 calls. Jason Todd died on a phone pole, and the margin was basically like a rounding error or something. The Joker killed him, and it haunted Batman comics for about 15 years. Then in 2005, Judd Winnick brought him back. A reality-altering event, Superboy punching the walls of time and space, long story, had resurrected him from his coffin. Jason clawed his way out, trained with the League of Assassins, and came back to Gotham as the Red Hood, a violent, gun-toting anti-hero whose whole argument is that Batman's refusal to kill criminals is the actual problem. He's never been Robin again. He's never fully been a villain, though. Jason Todd lives permanently in this gray zone where the comics can never quite decide what to do with him, which feels disappointing most of the time. Interlude, Carrie Kelly, the one who showed up without being asked. Before Tim Drake, we have to talk about Carrie Kelly because she predates him, and she's a different kind of Robin than anything we've ever had before. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns is set in a near future where Bruce Wayne is in his 50s, he's retired, he's bitter, he's watching Gotham collapse. When he comes back, he does it without a Robin, because the last one died and he's never fully forgiven himself for that. Then Carrie Kelly, a 13-year-old girl with neglectful parents and a lifelong admiration for Batman, buys herself a Robin costume at which is almost certainly a party city, and shows up in the field uninvited. She saves Batman from a gang of mutant thugs. He makes her Robin basically on the spot. Every Robin up to this point has been recruited. Batman found them in the wreckage of their own lives and brought them in, and Carrie didn't wait for that. She looked at the job and decided she wanted it and performed well enough on the first night that Batman had no argument. She's the first Robin who chose the role, not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she actually wanted to be there. Tim Drake, The Rebuild. Tim Drake figured out that Bruce Wayne was Batman at the age of 9. From watching footage of Dick Grayson doing a specific acrobatic move and recognizing him from a circus he attended as a small child. He reverse engineered the entire secret identity from a somersault. When Jason died, Batman went into a spiral, taking risks, being reckless. Tim Drake walked into Alfred's life and announced that he knew everything and made a case. Batman needed a Robin. Not for Batman's sake, but for everyone else's. Batman was more dangerous alone than with a partner. And Batman said no. Tim came back. Batman said no again. Tim came back again. Eventually, the answer changed. Tim's Robin isn't about the tragedy that created him. It's about a deliberate choice he made. He's less of a fighter and more of a thinker. He argues with Batman and is frequently right. His run as Robin is the longest of any modern Robin, and he's the only one who got his own ongoing solo series, which ran for 16 years. He eventually stepped aside for Damian Wayne. DC never quite knew what to do with him after that, which still remains a problem. They have a problem with knowing what to do with their Robins afterwards. Robin 4, Stephanie Brown, What Happens When the System Fails Someone. Stephanie Brown became Robin in 2004, in Robin issue 126. First female Robin in main DC continuity, she'd been operating as the spoiler for years, so she's proven in the field, and when Tim temporarily stepped away from the role, she pushed for it. Batman gave her a shot, reluctantly, with conditions. She lasted 4 months. Batman fired her for disobeying orders, which every Robin had done up to that point, so it kind of feels a little weird. Stephanie then tried to prove herself by enacting one of Batman's oldest contingency plans for controlling Gotham's crime families, and that fell apart. A gang war broke out. She was captured and tortured by Black Mask for hours while Batman looked for her. She died of her injuries. Fan response wasn't grief. It was fury, because DC didn't give her a memorial case in the Batcave. Every Robin who had died had gotten one to that time. There's Jason Todd, and Jason Todd. Stephanie got nothing, and fans noticed. They wrote letters and they kept writing DC until DC couldn't ignore it anymore, and they added a case retroactively. This is also where DC accidentally made a character more interesting by mishandling her. They meant to write a cautionary tale about someone who wasn't ready for the job. What they actually wrote was an indictment of the job itself. Stephanie turned out to not actually be dead. She came back, became Batgirl, got an excellent solo series, and is now one of the better developed characters in the Bat family. Robin 5, Damian Wayne, The Final Mutation. Damian Wayne is the result of a night between Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, daughter of Ra's al Ghul, head of the League of Assassins, that Bruce did not fully remember, and Talia didn't mention for about a decade. She raised Damian in secret, trained him to be the perfect warrior and eventual heir of the League of Assassins, and one day dropped him off at Wayne Manor with a, "Here's your son. Good luck," note attached. Grant Morrison introduced Damian in 2006, and he broke every Robin convention immediately. He wasn't vulnerable, he wasn't optimistic, he wasn't looking for a father figure. He was 10 years old with more combat training than most soldiers. He held everyone around him with contempt, and he fully believed that he was superior to every Robin who came before him. All the previous Robins had been symbolic children, orphans that Bruce rescued and mentored, filling a void that ran in both directions. Damian is the real thing, and he arrived not as someone Bruce chose, but as a consequence Bruce can't undo. He can't optimize his life around that. Can't set conditions. Damian is already here, already trained. The only question is whether Bruce's philosophy of justice can survive contact with a 10-year-old who was literally raised to kill people. Damian dies too, by the way. In 2013, at the age of 10, he's killed protecting his father. Morrison has spent years making him irreplaceable, so it lands. He comes back, this is comics, and he's currently the active Robin. Still 10 years old, because comic book time is a structured lie, but he's still the only Robin who can say he's Batman's actual blood. Bonus round, Helena Wayne, Earth 2, Batman and Catwoman's daughter. In DC's Earth 2 continuity, which is an alternate universe, Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle got married and had a daughter. That daughter is Helena Wayne, and she grew up knowing everything. She first put on a costume she called herself Robin Hood, and her mother, with the casual elegance only Catwoman could manage, said you should drop the hood. And she did. Helena's Robin came through legacy rather than loss. She patrolled first with Catwoman, not Batman. When her mother was killed, she nearly died trying to avenge her and was saved by Supergirl, beginning one of DC's most underused friendships. She ended up stranded on Earth Prime. She rebuilt herself as Helena Bertinelli, became the Huntress, and spent years trying to find her way home. Duke Thomas, the Signal, the one who made his own rules. Duke Thomas came up through We Are Robin, a 2015 storyline in which Gotham teenagers self-organized into a street-level vigilante network while Batman was believed dead. With no training and no coordination, just a symbol and a burning need to do something, Duke led them. Batman came back. Duke took the offer on one condition. He wasn't going to be a boy wonder. He became the Signal instead. And crucially, he operated during the day, where no Batman or Robin had ever done that. He found his own lane rather than inheriting someone else's. DC still underuses him. The Signal concept is smart, a Bat family hero built around the one shift Batman leaves empty, and Duke's backstory earns it. Robin ? Jarro, the baby alien starfish who calls Batman Dad. Okay, here we go. Starro the Conqueror is one of DC's oldest villains, a massive telepathic alien starfish who first appeared in 1960 as the very first villain of the Justice League. He spent decades enslaving planets by coating them in mind-controlling spores. He's not a nice guy. In the 2018 event Justice League No Justice, Scott Snyder did something no one expected. He gave Starro a heroic death. Faced with the Omega Titan, cosmic entities that could wipe out everything, Starro attached himself to one and held the line long enough for everyone else to escape. He was ripped apart in the process. The villain died a hero. Batman kept a part of him. He put a sample of Starro's cells in a jar in the Hall of Justice for study. The cells grew, they developed consciousness, and this tiny jar-bound fragment of the most powerful telepathic starfish in the galaxy looked up at Bruce Wayne and decided, without hesitation, that Bruce is his dad now. Batman called him Jarro, as in Starro in a jar. Jarro. And Jarro, this little psychic starfish who can link minds across continents, probe memories, and control behavior, wanted one thing above everything else. He wanted to be Robin. He wore a tiny little Robin costume in a dream sequence. He called himself the greatest Robin of all time, and he called Batman Dad, and Papa. With a sincerity so complete, it somehow got through Bruce Wayne's emotional armor. In Justice League issue number 20, Batman calls for Robin. Jarro answers, lands on Deathstroke's face, and takes him down instantly. Conclusion: what Robin actually means. Here's the thing about Robin that I didn't fully understand until I went through them all. The role isn't about the sidekick. It's about Batman. Every Robin is a reflection of what Bruce Wayne believes at the moment in his life about hope, about redemption, about whether the darkness he lives in can produce something good. Dick Grayson is Bruce at his most optimistic, the version that thinks you can save someone the way he wasn't saved. Jason Todd is Bruce when he's grieving and reckless, reaching for a connection before he's ready for it. Tim Drake is him being methodical and rational, trusting his own logic. Damian is him confronting his worst fear, that who he is might be something that gets inherited. Stephanie Brown is him failing to fully see someone who deserves better, and the ledger he still hasn't cleared. And Jarro is him, somehow finally learning to just let himself love. The Robin costumes have been worn by orphans, assassins, detectives, daughters, street kids, alien starfishes, and once by Bruce Wayne himself before any of this even started. And none of them got the same job. None of them left the same way. But all of them, every single one of them, changed Batman in ways he couldn't have managed alone. Which is maybe the point.